The Guardians have returned for Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and you know what that means. Our favorite CGI pals are back together. That's right, I'm talking about Rocket and Groot. And I'm here with VFX supervisor Stefan Soretti to find out how one of the MCU's most beloved pairs is brought to the big screen. Hi Steph, how are you?
Hey Ryan, I'm very good, thank you.
Steph, you were the VFX supervisor all the way back on the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. What was it like to get to introduce Groot and Rocket to the MCU?
When we first introduced them in the first film, they were such weird characters that nobody was really expecting. There's that kind of like weird dynamic between the two of them that makes them iconic, and you kind of get attached to them quite quickly.
Now in this third Guardians film, we dive even deeper into these characters. What was it like telling their stories through VFX?
It's a very emotional film, this one. There's all these little moments that really create depth into the character. They're not just like animated characters, they're really part of the cast.
So when you begin work on the film, how are the actors' performances captured on set?
We're not using mocap, with the hundreds of cameras and all that stuff. We do reference shoot. So we have the actors, they're with us, we're filming the scenes, and we then give it to the animators, and it's hand animated. Literally hand animated. So it's a lot of artistry that comes into this. It's not at all a process that is automated. So we really shot the entire scenes on a virtual set where we could actually capture the motion of the camera, which was very important for James to use in our full CG scenes, the same type of camera operation that we use throughout the film to make it seamless with the rest of the film. We have an actor playing Rocket, we have some stand-ins for Groot, and that was really helpful actually for us. We ended up using his references quite a lot actually, even sometimes to the point where we had little moments where there's eyes rolling.
And once you have the actors' performances, what additional visual reference do you capture while you're on set?
We have to shoot what we call clean plates so that we can paint out the actors that are not supposed to be here and replace them by our CG characters. So we 3D scan all the sets, we capture the light with what we call light probes. We also had a company called Legacy that worked with us and created 3D versions from the drawings from VizDev of how these characters would look, with perfect fur and all the mechanical arms and things like that, so that we could have a good reference on set in terms of lighting. So that what we can do then is really recreate in the computer a virtual representation of the real world in terms of lighting, in terms of the space, in terms of everything that the CG actors have to interact with. When we integrate our characters within the plate, everything feels seamless and that they feel like they belong to the environment they're shot in.
Okay, so you've gathered all that reference. How do you then actually go about creating and integrating the CG characters?
The characters are so different from humans. We need to be able to actually take that performance from the actor and really translate it into the bones and the skeleton of these animals. We have a lot of shots that are like close-ups on their eyes, and there's a lot of emotion going. So we really worked on the detail of the pupil, the iris, everything, the eyes, the way the eyelids are kind of pushing, opening, the color, the level of darkness around the eyes, the wetness in the eyes. When you see a CG character animated, especially one with fur, there's a lot of things involved in that are extremely complicated. So if there's wind, we need to have a little bit of wind in the fur. If there's two CG characters touching each other, we need to do, the fur kind of, getting displaced by the motion. For Groot, when he's more young, his face is more malleable when you've seen him like as baby Groot. But as he grows to become more of a tree, we wanted to bring that kind of level of expression that was kind of very detailed in the first film. All these little details are helping us really bring the moments where it needs to be funny, the moments where we need to have the emotion. Once we've shot this, we start dropping very simple models of the characters. And then we get into what we call blocky animation at the vendor, which is a very rough animation, but it's a little bit more detailed. And then as we push through, we start getting, better animation, more finished animation, we start getting renders. It's a very long process. It's not something you press a button and you get it. You have to have a very talented animator and FX team.
Everyone is clearly so freaking talented. Steph, looking back at all of your work throughout the Guardians franchise, how does it feel to get to bring the story of these characters full circle?
It's been very gratifying to go back to the origin of Rocket and Groot and telling that story, because that was a huge focus obviously for me and my teams on the first film, to make sure that these characters would be able to carry the story. And now that Rocket is really the centerpiece of this third film, it puts a lot of pressure on us, but also it's very gratifying to see the results coming together.
Steph, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, that was a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Anytime. And everyone out there, go experience Rocket and Groot in Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters now.